The media describes you as an outsider, as if to say, you came out of nowhere. You have a relatively extensive political history, a political experience.
Well, of course, first of all, because I worked in the Ministry of Environment twice. I worked also for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for a few years, and particularly 17 years I worked for United Nations. So I served United Nations 17 years, 18 years almost. And with this occasion, I had significant experience and an approach regarding the, let's say, the political level, and in fact, the corner, David, the corner of the political things everywhere. And what has happened today is, let's say, it's a process which they had behind a number of problems, and particularly the most important one is the peace. Because in 1945, when was the beginning, the, the born of United Nations, they had a simple goal to keep the peace, or in fact, peace building, not only peacekeeping. And from 1945 until 2025, there were not only Ukraine, there are a lot of conflicts and wars everywhere in the world. So this does mean that the peace, first of all, doesn't exist, but also the spirit and the objective in order to promote this was not. And for this reason, I can make a definition also for my side that I'm a whistleblower, because I know very well the situation inside, and not only in United Nations, but in different international organizations, which in fact they have not any interest to keep the peace, but just to promote the war. So in my campaign, for example, in the moment when I said about peace, they are alert to the word peace because they need war. This is the main important point.
So, very briefly, because just so people understand the political process, Romania is a semi parliamentary democratic system, but I think people need to understand how the presidential election, first round, second round works in order to understand what was done to you. If you
Yeah,
could briefly explain how that works.
very briefly, we had official the presidential election. The first round was November 24. We were 14 candidates for this position, okay? And after the first round, in November 24, as I said, my position was on the first position, I was located, and was another lady in the second one. I was with 23, 24%, and the lady on the second position for the president as a party, Romania, she had 19, almost 19%.
Okay.
So after the first round, the Constitutional Court, including the presidential administration, including the Secret Service, they declared very clear that the first round was accepted and is done, is official, recognized. And of course, we are running the second round. But in the moment when, 3 days before the second round, already they confirm again that the first round is absolutely clean and, let's say, they respect the rules. And on Friday, December 6th, when already start the vote outside of Romania, in Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand, okay, in the afternoon of Friday, they cancel the election.
If I may,
With
one quick question: when you say there's
the
20 some odd candidates running for the presidential election,
14, 14,
14,
14.
sorry, 14. They're not. This is not of this. This is across all parties, correct? It's not like primaries within a party.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So they were just myself. I was independent, and that's it. Or maybe
Okay.
not one or two, but
And
that's
then
it.
what is supposed to happen in the second round? It's number one and two who then run against each other for the presidency.
Exactly.
Okay.
Run again for the president, and they cancel the elections. I mean, the second round of elections was illegally and unconstitutionally cancelled. With in other words, they stolen the votes of the people with a, let's say, reason that they said that they were Russian interference, which they have not any evidence, and even today they have not evidence on that. But they continue to say about this subject with no evidence. And the Constitutional Court, as I said, they canceled the election, and from the December 6th, the people are on the street, and everybody knows that the people are on the street, and of course they are fighting for the democracy, for the freedom, and for the right to vote, because the basically elementary freedom is to have the right to vote. Whatever person you vote, it's your right. Nobody has a right to cancel. But of course, they cancel that. They don't like to be someone who they don't like.
Well, we're going to get into you and why you're a threat, particularly to NATO or the globalists. But before we even get there, who files the complaint? Who decides to intervene in the election? Surely it wasn't the other person that you were running against.
I told you it's a constitutional court of Romania which has 9 members. So 9 members with another one who is a former president, Klaus Iohannis. They together they decide to cancel the elections.
Like you,
So in other
unilaterally.
words, nine people decide for 19 million people. In fact, for 9 million who in fact they vote already on the first round. So it's incredible. 9 people decide for 9 million.
And the reasons that they gave, although from what I understand, no evidence provided whatsoever, and
no evidence. And I wish to underline to you that in December the last year, the former president Klaus Iohannis was in Brussels, and exactly what you said now. The journalists they asked him, "Do you have any evidence on what's happened?" And he said, very frankly, he said, "No, we have no evidence." And the journalist asked, "Okay, but how you decide that?" "No, we have suspicion on that." Yeah.
The suspicion is that you were using Russian interference, whether or not it was asked for, or whether or not you had a role in it, interference from Russia and TikTok influencers, which is where you ran a successful campaign using TikTok. Those were the two bases of the complaint.
Yeah. So, dear David, 2 things. First of all, I have no relationship with any interference. There doesn't exist any interference for Russia. Beside that, they have no evidence, but they didn't ask also Russian embassy or any Russian official about this, and is nothing until today, absolutely nothing, no evidence on this subject. And second, social media, everybody was used social media. By the way, on evaluation, assessment made by all the 14 candidates, I had a place which they use TikTok. I had the 4th place. So I was in the position number 4 as a candidate who used TikTok. Beside that, of course, the social media is free to be used by everybody. I mean, it's nothing to complain on this subject. But beside TikTok, which they accuse me, it's not this. It was just my narrative position, because I said from early beginning, not only from my campaign, even from before, from many years before, I said that I am for my people. I am together with them. I am for working class, for working families, and I'm dedicated to spread the productive property as well as the power of each citizen. So I'm totally dedicated for my people and to recognize that the power is of them. And I'm the employee of the Romanian people, not vice versa.